Hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I wanted to give a review of Land, the movie starred and directed by Robin Wright. And I'll do that in a second. As usual, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. Got an MBA, computer science degree, and I was in the Army Reserves for a period, as well as I got a full tuition scholarship for some of those degrees and stuff like that. That's it for me. So, Land. I am signed up for online, well, it's online now, right? For screenings, movie screenings. And I was sent a link to view Land online. And, it was not an action-paced movie. It seemed to have very few actors in the movie. But because of the scenery, really, the scenery and maybe even the topic, the idea of this woman who has lost what seems like her kid, and she just wants to be far away from everybody else. That's kind of like Gravity. The movie Gravity with, what's her name? I don't know. It's not like I can really empathize with that idea of losing a child and then having all that pain. I kind of had to suspend some of my disbelief in that, because maybe I really don't know until I walked a day in somebody's shoes. But as a kid, I never wanted to feel like that sort of thing could happen to me. And I did a sort of an experiment on myself where I imagined what it would be like if my family died. And I thought about, hey, if my grandmother dies, if my mother dies, if my sister dies. And it was horrible. It was really horrible to even pretend that that was true. But what I realized is that the more that I thought about it, the more that I kind of came to term with that inevitable outcome, because either they're gonna go or I'm gonna go. If I go before them, or if I had gone before them, since my grandmother's dead, there would be no problem. So anyway, too much about myself. I was able to get over that horrible scenario in my head and realize that, okay, life goes on. So I kind of had to suspend some of my disbelief that somebody could be in that situation. I would mourn, but I don't feel like it would take over my life. As a matter of fact, I guess that, based on some of these other characters that were in the movie, I feel like I would be more like them. Anyway, the scenery, it was a very, 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 very simple premise to this movie, and yet I did not find myself feeling bored. And that might be more testament to myself and what I like than it might be to the movie. I'm not sure. But the step by step, what do I do next, that she had to go through, whereby, she would try to trap animals, and she would try to fish, and she would try to do this and whatever. The step by step, what's the next thing that we have to do? What's the next thing that we have to do? That was kind of cool. I mean, like I said, I wasn't bored by it. I mean, it's really so funny, because sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of times, I find that movies that I want to see, with all of the explosions and the excitement and everything, they sometimes leave me with a odd taste in my mouth where I'm not really satisfied at the end of it. And oftentimes movies that start off telling me, hey, I'm not going to give you any explosions. There's not going to be lots of guns and bullets in this movie. So those are the ones that end up satisfying me. So yeah, as the movie progressed in the understandable way, of course, there has to be a hurdle. I guess that's at the end of the first act, is it? That a hurdle, the problem arises according to the ways that movies and maybe plays are set up. There are three acts, and at the end of the first act, you get a hint of what the problem is. But I don't think I'm giving too much of the story away to suggest that, because it's in the previews. If you see the previews, at some point, Robin's character she needs help. She probably really, really needs somebody's help, and she gets the help that she needs, kind of. And again, just a step by step, what's the next thing that needs to happen? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? That was pretty interesting. I really didn't mind looking at that at all. And I felt as the end of the movie drew near, I felt that, you know what? This was not a 3-course meal. It was not a full round everything with an appetizer and your entree and a dessert. It was just maybe, as movies go, a tasty pastry. It's good. It's not necessarily going to fill you up, but this is a good movie. And oh yeah, this is another thing. I am so happy to see a movie that has little to no references to man and a woman having a relationship. That is amazing. And one of the things that this movie speaks to is the idea that Robin is, an aging lady, we could say. She's almost up there. And it is so, honestly, to me, I don't know about anybody else, it is so great to be able to see a woman of Robin's age in a movie and be the star of the movie, the central character of the movie, and hold the movie on her own. And it's not a romantic movie. These are the things this is what made it tasty and good for me, because there's always been the assumption, right? I guess people make movies that they want to watch, and if you are a male, a white male, I guess white males keep making movies because they are the executives of movie studios and up and down, directors. They're the actors that get all the money and whatever else. It's the assumption that we want to see movies led by white males of any practical age, right? But to see Robin starring in this movie, directing this movie about a woman of her, it kind of stretches the imagination a little bit, I suppose, to assume that she would be the mother of this kid. But of course, who knows how long they've been gone or whatever. But these are the things that made it a tasty, somewhat filling item to consume. All of these different aspects. Something different. Not the regular white guy leading the movie with some romance or whatever it is. Now, as I was saying, as we got to the end of the movie and I was saying, yeah, this is a decent movie, there were a couple points in there. Actually, just a sentence towards the end of the movie. And it was exactly the kind of sentence, I keep bringing up this movie where there's a narrator who is writing a book, and the book that she's writing turns out to be about a real person who is hearing the narrator write the book. And this is Will Ferrell is in the movie. And basically she writes the book or the manuscript or whatever it is, and it requires that Will Ferrell, this real person who's also a character in the book, that he dies. And they have is it Dustin Hoffman? I can't remember his name. He was in he played a woman in this movie. I can't remember. Was it? Yeah, I think it's Dustin Hoffman. Anyway, he is like the intermediary between them, between the character and the author. And he reads the book that the author plans to write, and it essentially has that Will Ferrell must die. And when he reads the book, he's like, this is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece because you die. And in the end, though, of course, the decision has to be made. Do you kill off this real, obviously real person, or in order to make this masterpiece, or do you change the ending so he lives? And the author changed the ending so he lived. And Dustin Hoffman's character is like, it's a decent book. The other one was a masterpiece where you died. And it's the same thing with Land. There is just one sentence at the end of the movie that when I heard it, it just made the whole thing filling. It's like, it was a bit of a gut punch. It kind of made me feel a little bit sick. But at the same time, it just instantly filled me up and was like, whoa. Oh, in another way, I guess it's like, what is that movie with, it's like Sixth Sense. And maybe it might not be like that for somebody else, but it was like that for me. It was like in that movie, in Sixth Sense, where, what's his name's character remembers what the kid said, that he sees dead people and they don't know they're dead, and he's a dead person. And at that point, it was like, wow, yes, that sentence, your realization of it, brought home everything for me. I understand. And, I was asking myself why it is that she went off by herself in the very last scene. But then I realized, okay, she had to make a call, and it wasn't gonna look good making it where she made it. So, but yeah, I would say it's definitely a movie I could recommend. I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I felt, it's good enough. I would have wanted to give it like a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 because I was feeling maybe there are better movies. What are you giving a 5 to? But you know what? I think it really did deserve a 5. Maybe it's not a blockbuster. Maybe it's not like, something with Thanos and the Snap and Avengers, all that stuff. But it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good, nice movie. So, totally recommend it. You should see Land by Robin Wright. So that's it for me for now. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, subscribe, any of those great things. And yeah, have a good one. Peace.